Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyrad and Jack Felcher along with you on your Tuesday here on the game. Reminder, as always, on Tuesday, Coach Beamer coming up at 1 o'clock as he will give final thoughts on what happened against Vanderbilt and start turning the attention to Missouri this upcoming weekend as South Carolina looks to improve on bowl eligibility. And as we talked about in the last segment there, trying to get to an even better destination for wherever they're going to be playing coming up in December. Of course, basketball season up and running as well. This obviously got lost in the shuffle of everything going on with football, but South Carolina men did pick up their first victory of the season, 86-64 over South Carolina State on Friday night over at Colonial Life Arena. Quickly, let's hear from Coach Paris recapping things after the game.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good response. This is going to sound like as much coach speak as you've ever heard probably, but in a cliche, but I honestly do not believe that if we had somehow won that game, that the messages that we were trying to send as a staff would have been received the same way as they were having lost that game. Not that I'm happy that we lost. I just wish we would have played better. But we are who we are where we are right now. And so I think we needed to hear some of the things that we said as a staff. I think we took those things to heart. I think we prepared individually probably better. And, so when I think about response, that's what I think about. And obviously, Colin Murray-Boyles played significantly better in terms of finishing around the basket than he did in the first game. But even with that, we had a chance that we could have lost that first game because of all these other things that we didn't do, that tonight we did a much better job at those. So I thought it was a really good response by the entire group.
Got yourself back on track again, got one in the win category and cruised to a pretty comfortable victory there. By the way, North Florida is 3-0 on the season. They did beat Georgia Tech the other day.
They're a good team,
So
man.
They're not an awful team by any means, though.
No.
That's still looking, as of right now, as a quad 4 loss, which will hang over your head. But I thought, Paris's comment there was interesting that, he's not saying I'm glad we lost game number 1, but it provides you the opportunity to learn something really early on in the season, because that's, when you have a easier non-conference schedule, I'm not saying that South Carolina does, but say you make your way through the non-conference and you haven't really been tested a whole lot. If you get smacked in the mouth that first game in SEC play, you're saying, whoa, we're not as good as we thought we were. Being able to learn that lesson in game number 1, as bad as that loss was, hopefully will benefit this team for the entire season.
No, and they're going to get tested plenty during this non-conference slate. I mean, you get Indiana in Bloomington this weekend.
Saturday.
That's going to be the ultimate test of the non-conference slate. But yeah, man, I think it was good. Like, you never want to say it was good for them, but like it was in some respects. If they start pulling some wins out here,
it's one of those things that you never want it to happen beforehand, but after it does happen, you say, okay. And we kind of talked about this last week, hearing some of Coach Paris's comments coming away from that game about his team's efforts. Like, okay, you lost. It is what it is. How do you learn from this? Okay, can you look yourself in the mirror and say, we need to be better in these categories, and we need to try harder here, and all those kind of things, and build from that? And it looks like they certainly did. Wasn't a perfect game by any means against South Carolina State on Friday night. Turnovers, still an issue. Three-point shooting, about where it was in game number 1. Free throws did get a lot better, though. So there's a positive there as, again, you're trying to find your footing in non-conference before you get set for the onslaught that is conference play coming up here at the start of the new year.
here's the thing, man. They shot 57% from the field in the second half. That is a recipe for success. They also forced 10 turnovers by NC State or SC State. Huge difference in that game. And look, SC State was playing pretty well in the second half, but when you're able to shoot as well as South Carolina did from that standpoint, that's going to lead to victory. So that's what you need to see from this team moving forward, because, you know, watching that first half, it was like 5 turnovers in the span of 4-6 minutes. So you can't be starting off slow, but you play like you did in the second half, you'll have a good chance every time.
Great night for Jacoby Wright as he it was inserted in the starting lineup over Zach Davis. 20 points on the night for him. And he's somebody that, again, he's been around forever and has always been mainly kind of that guy coming off the bench. But maybe he is establishing himself as one of these starting 5 this year.
I definitely think he is. Like, he's a great player. And look, I mean, he's always been that first guy off the bench for this team, and he's always been pretty good. But I think this is maybe his coming out year where he proves to a lot of people like, hey, like this is a great, talented player because we know what he has been. But 20 points and 7 to 10 shooting, and he's been consistent so far this season. I like what he brings to the table, and I think Zach Davis, look, he's a great defensive player, but his shooting's coming along, and he had 10 points last game, but you'd like to see more out of him offensively.
Everybody obviously excited about Cam Scott. He went out there on Friday night and put up a lot of shots, didn't have a whole lot, come through. 2 of 12 from the field, only 6 points, and 1 of those made from 3. And, again, he's a young guy. He's learning. He's getting used to the college game. These are the opportunities to kind of knock that rust off a little bit and come into form. So, don't press the panic button just yet because he hasn't balled out in 2 games, but obviously a high upside for what Cam Scott's supposed to be here at South Carolina.
Yeah, he had a decent game against North Florida in game 1, and Wooster was pretty good too. But look, for him, these types of games are going to happen, especially early in the year. And it's a good thing he's coming off the bench because I feel like there'd be a lot more pressure for him at least maybe. And maybe he handles pressure well if he were the starter. And I think it's good. It's still early in the year. And by the time he gets to conference play, when this team gets there, I think we're going to see him playing a lot better, and we'll see him be a lot more comfortable out there.
Speaking of college basketball, this story got lost in the news shuffle a little bit over the weekend as all the details ended up coming out on Friday. But I want to play cut number 5 from today's list here, Dave. This is Florida men's basketball coach Todd Golden speaking yesterday, acknowledging the allegations that have been made against him.
Hey, obviously, I assume you guys have a lot of questions. I just want to start by saying, I kind of expressed my statement on Saturday, and obviously would love to be able to give you more, but that's all I can give at this moment. And so any questions in regards to the ongoing inquiry, I'm just refer you to my statement on Saturday. And I apologize that I can't comment any more than that.
So this all comes in the wake of the allegations of sexual harassment and stalking that were made against him by some unnamed female students at the University of Florida. There's a lot of details to this that are being investigated. He's still the acting head coach at the University of Florida as of right now. Again, he was speaking to the media just the other day, but a wild story nonetheless for anybody that's taking the time to read all the details of it. This is crazy.
Yeah, look, it should be innocent until proven guilty. But man, those are, when I read that, my jaw dropped. It's kind of disturbing. It's disgusting. And it's, you really hope it's not true, but obviously the odds are probably stacked against him, right? Like this doesn't look good for him, not at all. And it doesn't look good for Florida with all the mess they got going on over there.
Well, and I told this to Terry yesterday. You think about the Napier vote of confidence that came out on Thursday that, dominated the headlines, and Florida themselves got shellacked on Saturday by Texas on the road. You almost kind of wonder if that was maybe a diversion because they knew. And look, the story broke by a student newspaper down there in Gainesville. Scott Strickland did not learn about this from the school newspaper. He knew this was coming down the pipe, and you almost kind of wonder if that was his way. And again, all the details end up coming out on Friday, which, again, for anybody that knows anything about news, Friday news dumps are where things get lost in the weekend shuffle. You think maybe this is a way of kind of diverting attention a little bit for what's already a messy situation down there in Gainesville?
It's very much possible. It wouldn't shock me, and it didn't help that Florida got their butts kicked in Austin over the weekend. But, I mean, look, it probably does take a little steam off of what happened. I mean, we're just now talking about it, and it's Monday, and this happened back on Friday. Obviously, Florida's known about this for a little bit. I think I don't know how long this process is going to take. Obviously, he's still going to be coaching, but, I mean, look, if it ends up being true, I don't see how you don't fire him. You can't be having predators like that out there.
You'd be able to fire him with cause, I'm assuming, at that point in time, so you're not having to worry about the buyout or anything like that. And look, I'm all for innocent until proven guilty, so I don't think they should just say, all right, well, you're gone, because this could end up being
exactly. That'd be the wrong thing to do.
That would be the wrong thing to do, but given the amount of evidence that is already out there as of right now, it does not seem like he's got the strongest case. I'll say that, but we'll see what happens.
No, it's just not a strong case at all, and this is like the worst thing that could happen for Florida in addition to everything else. And it's a tough time to be a Gator fan, and it's certainly tough time to be a part of that administration out there in Gainesville.
Yeah, so we'll keep our eye on everything down there in Gainesville. They don't have a president right now, by the way,
Nope.
which only
Interim
further
president, which,
complicates
yes.
matters, as it's a bit of a mess down there in Gainesville on a lot of different fronts. It is Tuesday. Means we hit our NFL top 5, bottom 5. Top 5 coming up next on the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Belcher along with you here on the game. Tyler Head here, excited once again to tell you about Underdog Fantasy, the place where you can win money just watching the sports you're watching anyway. With their pick'em game, you could win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on player stats with things like passing yards, touchdowns, three-pointers, double-doubles, and more. Do you think Jason Tatum will have higher than 43.5 in combined stats tonight versus Atlanta? Hop on Underdog and place an entry. Underdog puts the power to cash out in your hands, where you can either keep riding with your entry or tap the Win Now button to cash out whenever you want. Tonight, I've got Hunter Dickinson with Kansas lower than 9.5 rebounds as they take on Michigan State. Underdog also offers discounts where you can get adjusted projections on certain player stats to give you a better shot at winning. Download the app and sign up promo code THEGAME1075 and deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's promo code THEGAME1075. Must be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Tua keeps, fires, touchdown, Miami, Tyreek Hill. Dolphins spread them out.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Felcher along with you on your Tuesday here on the game. It is time for our heavy lifting segment. We're about to be our friends over at TEC Equipment Rental. That was the call last night on Monday Night Football. Tyreek Hill scoring for the Dolphins as they pick up the 23-15 win over the Los Angeles Rams out there in LA. And while the story of the Dolphins is typically the offense, last night it was the defense as they did the heavy lifting, holding the Rams to 5 field goal attempts and never allowing them in the end zone one time.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of that game last night. I thought the Miami defense was solid in that game. Like, you really can't complain. And look, this should be a better football team record-wise than they really are. And I know Tua's been out for most of the year, but I mean, look, they're playing well right now, and we'll see what happens. I don't think they're winning the East at all by any means, but wild card, they can probably get themselves back into it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if Tua does not get hurt and miss several games,
things are different.
They're definitely in the conversation for the AFC East. They're obviously a little far back at this point in time, though. Crazy things can happen. You never know. There's still about half the NFL season to go, but they're definitely a different team with Tua because that offense is tailor-made. For him, no offense to Skylar Thompson or anything like that, but it's Tua's offense, and when he's there, it runs the best.
Exactly. So, hey, good win for the Dolphins last night, and for the Rams, it's kind of a bad loss.
Look,
don't know what to make of them.
And look, I've been a big Matthew Stafford fan for a long time, and it seems like his best days are behind him.
He threw for 293 yards last night.
He did. He's been so up and down this year, though.
I know.
And, a couple weeks back when he got Nakua back, when he got cut back, it seemed like that kind of reignited the spark that the Rams needed. But it's just not the same.
No.
He's on the back end of his career. I think he can still hang around for several more years, but he's not playing at the same high level that he was a couple seasons ago when they won that Super Bowl.
No, and look, I think either way, that trade has worked out very well for both teams. But
look, they got what they wanted out of it initially.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, but good win for the Dolphins, though, last night.
Absolutely. So that brings us to our NFL top 5, bottom 5 as we navigate through roughly half of the NFL season so far. I can't move them out of number 1. Detroit, man. Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions on Sunday.
Oh, my God.
And they won the game. The defense pitched a second-half shutout, and they won the game with a field goal that I don't think you could have put this piece of paper between that ball and the goalpost as it was going through out there in Houston.
Dude, that field goal was nuts. Like, oh, my gosh. When I saw he threw 5 picks, I was like, huh? And they still won. This just shows how good this team is, and look, they are the best team in the NFC. Number 1 for me. You can't knock them until they lose a game, and once they do, things will definitely change. Believe me. The Chiefs at number 1. I mean, this team won on a blocked field goal because that is just the type of season this team's having where everything just seems to roll their way when they need it to most, and I think it's going to run out at some point. I think it's going to change this weekend when they go to Buffalo, but hey, the Chiefs are 9-0, and credit where credit's due. So the number 1 team.
The Chiefs are my number 2. They're still not playing their best football, but they're finding ways to win. That classic win with all 3 phases of the game kind of thing. Let me ask you this. You said they are playing Buffalo this weekend. I know you obviously want the Bills to win, but let's just dream up. What crazy way can Kansas City win this game on Sunday? Because they've won in every conceivable way so far, it seems like.
Yeah, they've won just about every way.
We had like a scoop and score in like a tie game with 15 seconds left or something.
Well, the good thing is they're not going to win, so I won't have to think about it.
I'm just saying if.
If is a very, it's a sticky word.
Because this team legitimately could easily be 500 right now.
Oh, without question, man. Like, some of the things that just go their way are, and like some of it's obviously people are going to say the refs and stuff, which, yeah, I buy into, but like, hey, good football is good football, and I can't really knock them for. Yeah, we're watching the highlight right now. Like, it's right there. It's just absolutely insane that stuff like this happens. But number 2 for me, I'm going the reverse with you. The Detroit Lions. I mean, look, this is a great football team. Best team in the NFC, without question. Super Bowl or bust for this team. They got to get there, and I think this is the year we finally see it because they're playing well. They can win in spite of not having Hutchinson, and they can win in spite of their quarterback, who's been great this year, throwing 5 interceptions. If you can do that, you can win most times than not.
Number 3 for me is the Buffalo Bills. Picked up the win against the Colts on Sunday. Colts got a late touchdown that made that score look closer than it actually was. And here's the mark of a good team, much like the Lions. You can win when your quarterback doesn't play his best. Josh Allen threw 2 interceptions on Sunday. Bills still end up picking up the victory 30-20.
Yep. Bills are my number 3 as well. Look, they were up 10-0 in this game, and I had to listen on the radio the entire time because I was driving back when the game was going on. But 10-0, they blow that lead, and then they respond, and they really dominated the second half. That's been the Bills' kind of MO this season, has been dominate the second half, and they definitely did that. And yeah, I mean, look, they're looking good right now, 8-2. AFC East is on driver's seat, and Chiefs coming in town this weekend.
Is that a primetime game this weekend?
Nah, it's a 4:25 game, so.
Why isn't that Sunday Night Football?
CBS. I'd rather have it on CBS.
Rather have it on CBS?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Some of these primetime games have been stinkers. I'm like, there's your primetime game. Why not?
Yeah.
It's always a good game.
I guess so.
Number 4 for me, Baltimore Ravens won that wild game with the Bengals once again on Thursday night. It's so funny how they can have the best run defense and the worst pass defense. So if you have a high caliber quarterback like a Joe Burrow, he can go out there, throw it all over the yard against these guys. But the problem is the Ravens have an offense good enough to outpace just about anyone, which is what they did once again on Thursday night.
They are a very good football team. They're my number 4 as well. Look, the Ravens, I mean, even when they were trailing by as much as they did, and even when they had to score 21 points in the fourth quarter to win, it was just like wow, just this team was down for most of the game, but they came back and won. And I mean, look, it was a crazy game for sure, but hey, good teams find a way to get the job done, and they are definitely take out what happened in that first game of the season against KC. This has otherwise been a pretty flawless football team. Like those early losses, they're playing much better now.
Now, at number 5, I have a team that has not been in my top 5 or bottom 5 so far this entire year. If I'm going to put the Ravens at 4, I got to put the team that is leading their division right now in the top 5 as well. The Pittsburgh Steelers are my number 5 team. They're leading the AFC North. They've played one less game, but still they're sitting at 7-2. They're 3-0 with Russell Wilson, as Russ is starting to cook a little bit here, and they have the second best scoring defense in the NFL. Look, the Steelers are always going to be a good defensive team. They are just if their offense can give you enough, then they'll win most of their games. That's exactly what they're doing. In fact, they've been scoring pretty routinely in the upper 20s to 30s these past couple weeks. Like, they're playing good football, as odd as that sounds with Russell Wilson these past couple of years.
I'm going to go with someone that has not been in my top 5. I don't believe it all throughout this season. And honestly, I don't think they've played like a top 5 team at all. But you know what? Now you look back and it's like they've won 5 games in a row. They are playing good football they're winning games without playing their best football. That's the Philadelphia Eagles. A 34-6 drubbing of the Cowboys in Big D over the weekend. And it wasn't even their best game. Like, I don't know. I mean, they fumbled a lot. Just a lot of mistakes were made. But look, they still dominated this Cowboys team. And the Eagles have won 5 in a row. I don't think Sirianni's a good head coach at all by any means. I think they got a lot of problems over there. But, hey, they're leading their division, and they've got a real good chance to be one of those top teams in the NFC.
They were like 5.1 for me. I had to debate between them and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is definitely an honorable mention. They're a good team right now.
Both very, very good. We'll hit our NFL bottom 5 coming back to wrap up today's edition of The Extra Point on your Tuesday.
All right, this alert. The civil authorities have issued a law enforcement warning for Orangeburg, South Carolina. Orangeburg County Sheriff's Office is searching for a young child last seen this morning around 5:45 a.m. near Willow Bay Drive and Riverbank Drive. The child appears to be an African American wearing a shirt and diaper. Anyone with information is asked to call 911. Again, Orangeburg County Sheriff's Office searching for a young child last seen around 5:45 a.m. this morning near Willow Bay Drive and Riverbank Drive. The child appears to be an African American wearing a shirt and diaper. Anyone with information asked to call 911.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head and Jack Felcher along with you on your Tuesday. Mine coming up tonight at 6:30. Men's basketball taking on Towson. Pregame coverage at 6:30. Tip-off at 7 o'clock as Lamont Pierce's team looks to improve to 2-1 on the season before a pretty tough challenge going on the road to Assembly Hall, taking on the Indiana Hoosiers this Saturday. By the way, you're going to need like a double screen if you're going to watch that and the Carolina game going on at the same time.
Oh, that's right.
I'm assuming you can't be in two places at once either.
No. So the plan is I'll be at the football game. Fortunately, honestly, now that I think about it, and then we'll have someone else covering the Indiana game from the couch. So.
But very cool to see South Carolina up there again coming up this Saturday.
That'll be cool for sure.
While football is going on as well. Time to hit our NFL bottom five before we get out of here for today's edition of the Extra Point. I think Carolina was my 32 last week. I jumped them all the way up to 28 though, because they did win a game in Germany against the Giants. They've won 2 games in a row, and Bryce Young is actually kind of playing okay. I'm not saying he's great. I'm not saying he's suddenly fixed, but he has not been terrible these past couple of games.
He looks much happier, and I think that's what ultimately matters most. Look, he has not been great, but you know what? It's good to see the Carolina Panthers. I think I was listening to the TV broadcast when this happened. It's been like 700 days since they've won back-to-back games. Like,
that's crazy.
That's insane. And yeah, for me, they aren't even in my bottom 5 right now anymore, just because, I mean, they're better than these other teams. Oh boy, you know, actually, wait. I meant to include them. Number 28 for me was going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars, but you know what? I decided to change it up. The Big D, the Dallas Cowboys. Thanksgiving in any Cowboys fans' household this year is going to be absolutely brutal. I'm sure some TVs will be smashed. I mean, look, this is a dysfunctional, disaster waiting to happen football team. Jerry Jones, Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott's out for the year, CeeDee Lamb. They got so many problems, man. They are just a mess right now.
So Dallas is my 32, just to spoil it for you. I just wrote everything's a mess because that pretty much sums it up. You had Diggs the other day trying to fight the reporter. Micah Parsons telling Mike McCarthy he can get out of town now. They can't seem to figure out how to put something in front of the light coming in at AT&T Stadium that blinded CeeDee Lamb trying to catch that touchdown pass on Sunday. Jerry Jones is taking no accountability for what's happening. It's a dumpster fire.
What can go wrong will go wrong is the saying for the Cowboys. They are an atrocity right now.
Yeah, it's bad. Well, and by the time Thanksgiving rolls around, I think most fans will be apathetic at that point in time, to where even if they lose, they'll be like, yeah, it sounds about right.
Yep. So, but number, was it 30? Yeah, 30.
So that was my 32.
Yeah.
Just kind of jumping ahead there.
Yeah.
My 29, just kind of quickly run through these. 29, Jacksonville, 3 interceptions on Sunday of Sam Darnold, 0 points off of that, even with Trevor Lawrence hurt. Obviously, Doug Peterson is going to be gone at the end of the season, so not much to be happy about down there in Jacksonville.
Yeah, definitely not. Number, let's see, what was it? Number 29 for me would be the Cleveland Browns. They are an absolute mess right now. They had a bye week, but still, they're a mess.
Yeah, Browns are my number 30. Look, Jameis Winston came out and would play great in game number 1, played like Jameis Winston in game number 2, and that's kind of what you're going to get. It's going to be very Jekyll and Hyde. No expectations for them. They're my 30th team.
Yeah, for number 30 for me, I accidentally wrote off the wrong list. Jags are going to be my number 30. They're still awful. I mean, look, I think Doug Peterson's getting fired at the end of the year, but we'll see what happens. My number 31, I haven't included them for some reason, but they've been god-awful. The Las Vegas Raiders. They've lost 5 in a row. They are, I think Antonio Pierce might just get fired at the end of the year, honestly, but we'll see.
My 31, they lost to the Panthers in Germany, which, by the way, who thought that was going to be a
a game.
A game to build around.
That comes down to
it actually
a game-winning field goal.
It actually ended up being a good game,
Yeah.
but like you can't sell me Giants and Panthers.
No.
I'm sorry. To the people in Germany, I apologize that you had to witness that. They lost to Carolina. Daniel Jones threw 2 interceptions. He's on the verge of getting benched. Dable's probably on his way out. Much like Dallas and Jacksonville, it's just a mess.
Yeah, they are. The Giants are my number 32. They are awful. I mean, awful. 2-8. I mean, look, they played better in the fourth quarter, but they just everything's got to go by year's end. You can't be running this team out there, and I don't even know what you do. Like, where do you like? How do you even start over with this team? Like,
Well, and I think it's interesting that we both have the Giants and Dallas, in our bottom 5 because there's such a huge contrast between what the Eagles and the Commanders are doing. The Eagles have their own problems internally,
Night and day.
at least they're winning as of right now. And obviously, Commanders having a great, first year with Dan Quinn and Jaden Daniels, and then the Giants and Dallas just look like they can't get out of their own way.
No, not at all. And I'm telling you, man, Thanksgiving, it's around the corner.
Oh.
It's gonna be ugly. The Commanders play in Dallas that day, right?
Is it Commanders and Cowboys
pretty
on Thanksgiving?
positive. Let's see.
Well,
Thanksgiving.
I'll go ahead and make my pick for that one.
Yeah, I would say so. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's even better. It's the Giants and the Cowboys and
Oh,
my
man,
god,
that's gonna be this like smack dab in the middle of the day. Nobody wants to see
the
that.
toilet bowl.
They're gonna torture us on Thanksgiving.
Oh, man.
nobody asked for this.
A lot of bad matchups that day, man. Ugh.
That'll do it for today's edition of the Extra Point. Coming up next, it is the Gamecock Club Hour. Myself, Chris Clark. Be checking in with Roman Kimball coming up at 10:15 as well. Get his thoughts on what's gone on in fall baseball this year as well. It is the game on your Tuesday. 10 o'clock on your Tuesday morning. Okay, in is the Gamecock Club Hour presented by Krantz Cooling and Heating. Tyler Head and Chris Clark hanging out with you. Gonna be checking in with Roman Kimball here coming up in a couple minutes. Get some final thoughts on Gamecock baseball as they close out the fall after their scrimmage against College of Charleston the other day. And I think I heard Bill this morning say 95 days until opening day for college baseball. So right around the corner, man. Try that again.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
That'll be the little lights are not lighting up. That's what Christmas Vacation. Is it too early for that joke?
Not at all. Have you seen
Yeah.
the Dick's Sporting Goods commercial with the Watt brothers?
Yes.
Where they reference like 6 different Christmas movies?
Fantastic. Love a good Christmas movie. Die Hard.
Yes, it is a Christmas movie. Thank you for acknowledging that.
I was just prompting you. I didn't know.
I've been meaning to show it to my wife. She's not seen it yet. I'm like, you'll understand when you see it.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas movie.
Ooh. She might be like, that's not a Christmas movie and frustrate you, but
we'll see. That's on the list this year. That's for sure.
We will get the verdict. But yeah, college baseball, that is kind of crazy, right? Which
I know.
We have been, first of all, we've talked to a lot of baseball players.
Yes, pretty much the whole team.
So it's kind of gotten us in that correct mind frame. We've seen scrimmages. We've seen the exhibition the other night, or didn't see it, but saw that it happened. Jack Veltri, who was just in with you, was down there, and I know had some takeaways. So it is not going to sneak up on us this year by any means.
It's not. A lot of football to be played between now and then, including for South Carolina, a bowl game. We don't know where they're going. We do know they're going to get a 13th game by getting to 6 wins this past weekend against Vanderbilt. And on Friday, we're doing our buy and sell during the takeover hour. You posed the question of how does Coach Beamer address getting to bowl eligibility should they win against Vanderbilt on Saturday? And we both kind of said he'll acknowledge it as, yeah, that's good, but we had higher expectations, higher goals, and certainly won't be parading around in a bowl-eligible T-shirt like one certain SEC coach that might be coming into town this weekend. Cut number 19 here from yesterday, Dave. This is Coach Beamer addressing bowl eligibility on Saturday.
Yeah, I think so, for sure. We got bowl eligible, and then we went down and embarrassed ourselves in Gainesville 7 days later, so hopefully that's not the same thing. But it was really cool. So many similarities. Rainy night, rainy forecast 2 years ago, and then it never really did much during the game. And back and forth game a couple years ago, and that was a special night to get bowl eligible as well. Sorry, looking at some of these scores. Wow. It was really special to come in here and get bowl eligible 2 years ago, but I'd say it's extra special tonight, Jack, just coming off the season that we had last year, and very few people thought we would. I saw a lot of those preseason projections, and it certainly didn't have us winning 6 games this season, and having 6 wins with 3 games to go. So proud of our guys, but just so happy for them, for Sean, Tonka, Boogie, Luke. On and on and on for those guys to be able to be bowl eligible, and another win over a nationally ranked team. Really proud of him.
So maybe he leaned into it a little more than we thought he was going to. He didn't quite brush it off because, again, when you don't go to a bowl game last year, it is significant that you got yourself back to it. And looking at the schedule over the next couple of weeks, you have the opportunity to win maybe 8 or 9 games and improve whatever that bowl may be. When the decision comes on, do we call it Selection Sunday now? I know it's a basketball thing, but where they release the playoff rankings, and then you find out where your bowl destination is.
Yeah. But you call it more that for the playoff. The bowls, I guess so. Everybody,
Yeah.
Especially nowadays, just so kind of watered down, right? But you look, bowl eligibility is something that programs that are at the Power 4 level you should expect. It's just kind of a baseline. So you don't want to be celebrating it, but you want to acknowledge that, hey, it didn't happen last year. And I think for most South Carolina fans, I think we said this coming into the season. Most common question that I get before a year, or Wes, hey, what you think? It's another what you think kind of category. Just like you get before a big game, before the season, how many games can we win? That's what fans always ask. And I hate to say it, but you're like, well, God, it depends on so many different things. A lot of times I haven't seen a practice. And, as we've seen this year, things shift. It's even tougher than you thought. But I think everybody's starting point was, we'll at least get back to a bowl. That's what you got to do. You got to go play in the postseason. That's your starting point. Now, what can you do beyond that? Everybody knew that was kind of your baseline. So I do think Beamer, he threaded the needle between, like you said, I'd forgotten about that, the bowl eligible shirt. That, you're not going to go celebrate and throw a party for being bowl eligible.
Sure.
But you're also not going to, he also didn't do doesn't matter at all, means nothing. He kind of went in between, and he pointed out, they got bowl eligible in 2022, went and got beat 38-6 against Florida the next week. So, if you listen to Beamer, Debo Williams was asked about it the other night after the Vandy game about getting bowl eligible, and kind of took a similar approach. I mean, Debo after the Texas A&M game was like, "There's nothing to be happy about. We haven't played well enough defensively." They got closer to that donut that he wants.
Yes,
the zero. They got very close.
So I brought this up yesterday. They had a donut in the second half against A&M.
Yes.
Donut in the first half against Vanderbilt. So technically, they put together 4 straight quarters of a donut, but it wasn't one single game.
Yes.
It was like when there's donuts in the break room and there's 2 half donuts and you mash them together to make one. Still a whole donut, just 2 different pieces of a donut.
There you go. Yeah. You'd rather have the whole.
You would rather have the whole, but it's still the equivalent, right?
It is the equivalent. Yeah. So, I mean, I think, something you can be happy about it. I think if you're a Gamecock fan, if you're Shane Beamer, if you're one of the players, one of your goals, kind of, even if it's not stated, I mean, you got to go make postseason play, right?
Yeah, I think that was the baseline goal coming into the year. And the minimum expectation I think a lot of people had for this team, and when we were, again, having the countless conversations over the summer and stuff, waiting for the season start of how many wins do you think they can have and what's the goals for this year, we all said get to at least 6 wins in a bowl game. That is the bare minimum, because last year you missed it, saying, okay, that's either going to be a blip on the radar or that's what this program is now. And you've proven to this point, okay, that was just an anomaly. A lot of injuries, a lot of things happened last year. You've gotten back on track. You're at least going to a bowl game. And you have 3 more opportunities to get more wins and can improve on that. And maybe if you win out in the regular season, you got a chance to go win a 10th game in a bowl, which would be significant. As, insignificant as bowls have become, winning a 10th game is something you can hang your hat on.
It is. Action Network's Brett McMurphy, every year he does, and this is dating back to his time at the 4-Letter Network. He always does bowl projections.
Yep.
And typically does, the way too early bowl projections where it's almost kind of silly to do it, but people talk about it, and we'll talk about it here. Have you seen his latest bowl projections?
I have.
Yep.
This one falls in line with where a lot of people seem to have South Carolina going.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The ReliaQuest Bowl in Tampa, New Year's Eve, South Carolina versus Iowa. And if you are really, really a degenerate, Gamecocks minus 3.5.
We already have a line.
if you really needed to know that. This one, now, obviously, there's 3 weeks left in the season.
Yeah.
3 games left. But I can already hear and feel some Gamecock fans, no, we don't want it. Let's not.
So that begs the question, what's more important, the destination or the opponent?
Well, here's the problem. So I think for most people it's a destination. But it can be both. You remember a couple years ago when South Carolina made the bowl against Notre Dame, and it was in Jacksonville. And I remember having some conversations with some folks around the program, and I got posed the question, I guess because I talk to fans all day, every day, what do you think our fans would like more going to, and I can't even remember the scenario, going to play this bowl, it was one that Carolina had already played in at least a couple times in history, or go to Jacksonville and play Notre Dame. And I was like, that's easy. Notre Dame in a newer location in Jacksonville. And so, and that's what they ended up, I think everybody, both sides were kind of pushing for each other at that point, and that's what ended up happening. The problem with, and again, way too early, right? No clue if this is, but the ReliaQuest Bowl used to be the Outback Bowl.
Correct.
And the Gamecocks played in the Outback Bowl against Iowa in 2009.
Yep.
And it was a game that was not very fun at all. I mean, it was 31-10 Iowa. The Gamecocks couldn't do anything on offense. I think that was the game where I don't even know if I'm allowed to tell this story. Someone who worked with us at Gamecock Central just packed up and just went to the beach
Really?
at halftime. Yeah, it was just like, this game's over.
That's hilarious.
Maybe I'll tell more of that story later. But yeah, I mean, I just think, people have it'd almost be like, hey, I want to go back to Birmingham. People are like, no, I never want to go back to the Pizza Bowl. You can call it something different. We can play a team other than UConn. I don't want to go back to Birmingham ever, because that was just one of the most miserable,
bad memories.
Cold. They ran out of pizza at the Pizza Bowl. You got beat by UConn. Like, there was nothing good about it. So
ReliQuest seems to be the majority pick across the different networks, ESPN, 24/7, Action Network, all those kind of things. Texas Bowl was CBS's projection. I believe somebody also has them projected for the Music City Bowl, so a return trip to Nashville. Either way, with the way things are going, you're probably playing on December 30th or December 31st, anywhere between Texas, Florida, and Tennessee. Like, that's kind of where it's looking right now. I think you've kind of played yourself past the Vegas Bowl, because that's typically like, and the SEC is a newer team to that bowl game, but Florida went as a 6-6 team a couple years ago. I think you're a little bit higher than that at this point, which, again, you would think the Vegas Bowl would be a little more prestigious given the fact that it's in Vegas, but still, it does seem like you're probably going to end up in one of those Florida Bowl games or Nashville or something like that.
We're leaving, and there's other bowls as well, in addition to the ones you mentioned. I think we're leaving off a scenario that we should at least discuss.
Okay.
In terms of postseason, in terms of bowls. Opinions are varied on this. Is Carolina still in the mix for the college football playoff? You knew I was going there.
I knew you were going there.
I have thoughts. Thoughts vary. Computer models, people. We're going to talk about it later.
Yes.
So you got to hang around. First of all, you can listen to us chat with Roman Kimbrell.
Right. Talk some baseball.
Roman Kimbrell next segment. Then at about 10:30ish, we're going to talk about the college football playoff, the chaos that the Gamecocks would need. Some people completely ruling them out, some not.
It's been a season rife with chaos so far.
Yes.
So I guess nothing is truly impossible. But marinate on that for a few minutes. We're going to talk to Roman Kimbrell, get his thoughts on how fall baseball's gone, look ahead to the spring, and then we'll readdress where the Gamecocks stand and if they have a shot at the college football playoff. That's coming up. It is the Gamecock Club Hour, presented by Krantz Cooling and Heating. Tyler and Chris along with you on your Tuesday here on The Game.
If you are looking to upgrade your home theater, your man cave, get that movie theater experience without leaving the comfort of your home, Integrated Media can help you with that. Experience your favorite movies and your favorite shows the way they were meant to be watched, with surround sound and on a big screen. The guys over at Integrated Media can source the equipment for you. So if you're wondering, hey, what is the best type of television? What's the best size? What type? What brand? They can help you out with that by answering it, and they can also source it for you. You don't have to go to the big box stores and get bad customer service. You can go to their showroom in Chapin or give them a call, 803-948-8327. They can source the equipment for you, and they can install it. I've seen them install big screen TVs on all sorts of surfaces, walls, brick, chimneys, whatever it may be. They can do it for you. IntegratedMediaInc.com. You can trust Michael and Nathan. They've been to my home. They've been to Wes's home. IntegratedMediaInc.com. Oh, I need to get Dave Roman's number. Yes.
Welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Club Hour presented by Krantz Cooling and Heating. Tyler Head and Chris Clark along with you here in the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. He was in studio with us not all that long ago. Going to check out our guy Roman Kimball from Gamecock Baseball once again for a couple minutes. Roman, first of all, appreciate you taking your time this morning. Now the fall ball's all wrapped up. What's your assessment of how everything went on your end?
Yeah, man, what's up? How y'all doing? I mean, it was a great fall. Obviously, coaching adjustments and getting acclimated with everything, but it was a really smooth transition. Coach Maneri and the rest of the coaching staff did a really good job of prepping us and getting us ready for the spring. Got a lot of new guys on the roster as well, and definitely a lot of guys who had a really good fall, and a lot of people should be looking forward to seeing some of those guys play in the spring. So I'm super excited. The rest of the guys are super excited for February 14th.
Roman, it's Chris. Thanks for joining us again, man. First of all, right off the bat, you're obviously here on behalf of the Gamecock Club, so I want to give you an opportunity to shout out the Gamecock Club, any initiatives that you've been a part of with them recently, and to Gamecock fans just in general.
Yeah, man, the Gamecock Club has done a great job of, coordinating with us and, getting us everything that we need. And, they also, coordinate a lot of special events for us to, meet and greet with fans and stuff. Our next event is actually going to be this Saturday at the football game against Missouri. I think we'll probably have around 20 guys, 2 different time slots signing autographs over at the Garnet Truff Tent in Gamecock Park. This Saturday. So, but the Gamecock Club has been great for us this year, and really well run, and have definitely come up with a lot of great meet and greets and events for us to attend and be a part of, and we're super grateful for the Gamecock Club. So, if you're going to be at the game on Saturday, stop by the Garnet Trust Tent and get some autographs from the baseball team.
Yeah, go check those guys out. So, Roman, and I know you probably covered this a little bit last time you were in here. I actually didn't get a chance to listen to that. So I'm just going to ask again, what's the latest with the YouTube channel, man? I was telling somebody this morning about your YouTube channel who actually didn't know about it, and I watch it all the time. You do an awesome job with that. How's that been going? I know you're up to about, coming up on 13.5K subscribers.
Yeah. It's been a little slower this year, just with the coaching change, and I'm having to adjust with all that. Just been more focused of like in school and being on the field, because since I am a senior in the classroom, classes have been a little bit more rigorous this semester so far. So I haven't had as much free time as I would like to be able to put out videos as much as I can, but. It is a super fun thing, and I really do enjoy doing that. And, it's a lot of fun, and I feel like it's a good way for people to kind of see my personality and who I am, off the field and on the field. And I feel like it's good for my personal brand growth, and, it does a lot of good things, but mainly just, want to inspire people and, showcase some of my teammates and showcase the life of what it's like being a South Carolina and SEC baseball player.
And talking to Roman Kimball from Gamecock Baseball and the Gamecock Club Hour presented by Krantz Cooling and Heating. I was just talking with Jack Veltri from Gamecock Central in the last hour when I told him we're having you on here for a couple minutes, and he noted that a lot of guys pitching this fall, velocity's been down a little bit. Is that would you say a normal thing for fall? Are you guys working on specific things? Any insight into why that may be right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. I feel like the coaching staff has done a great job of getting us prepped and ready. But like you said, it is the fall. A lot of people are working on a lot of different things, and like I said, with the coaching change, it's an adjustment, and a lot of guys are working on a lot of different things. So that could be part of the reason why. Personally for me, like it's been a little while since I've taken a break from throwing. So this upcoming winter break and Thanksgiving break will be nice to kind of take a little deload and build the arm back up and get ready for the spring. But I mean, it shouldn't be too alarming for people. We've got plenty of great arms on the team, and I think our pitching staff is going to be one of the best in the country.
I want to turn it around to this group of hitters, and I know you've had you've seen a lot of them throughout the offseason and plenty of them on this team, right, that are more than capable. But are there a few of your teammates that come to mind that you'd like to shout out and talk about a little bit in terms of just the way that they hit the ball from what you saw in the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, of course, obviously, everybody knows Ethan Petrie, one of the best hitters in the country, going to be a first-rounder. Obviously, just doing what he does all offseason and this fall, and he was Cape Player of the Year in Cape Cod this summer. And so, I mean, I feel like his expectations are always pretty high, but he always comes through and always delivers for us. Kennedy Jones had a great fall, hit the ball really, really well. Definitely made some adjustments this offseason and this fall, and they all paid off because he hit the crap out of the ball this fall. And then obviously with a bunch of new guys like, Dalton Mayshore had a really good fall. Henry Kazmar, shortstop from Ohio State, had a great fall. And then, you've got your returners and your longtime guys who've been here for a while, like Talmadge LeCroy and Evan Stone. Those guys both had great falls. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of other guys, but, the bats this fall were pretty fun to watch, and it was always a tough battle pitching against those guys, and always was a lot of fun competing against those guys as well. So I think we're pretty well-rounded. We had a great fall. And there's a lot to look forward to coming up into the spring. And, obviously we have one of the best head coaches in the country in Coach Mainieri, and the coaching staff has done a great job as well this fall in getting everybody prepared and ready for the upcoming season.
And talking to Roman Campbell from Gamecock Baseball here on the Gamecock Club Hour presented by Krantz Cooling and Heating. You guys wrapped up fall ball with the scrimmage against College of Charleston the other night. We actually had your teammate Jace Woden here that morning before y'all headed down there. Obviously, you guys came up short. It is just an exhibition at the end of the day. But what did you guys learn in that game to kind of wrap up the fall and things to work on as you head towards the spring?
Yeah, I mean, Charleston's a good squad over there. Had a lot of good arms, good talent over there. I think they did a lot of work in the transfer portal this offseason. So, but yeah, they're a good squad. But, biggest takeaway is, we just got to play a little bit better, clean up a couple little small things. And, our pitching coach, Coach Rooney, always talks about, the difference in games being about 2 to 4 pitches. And, for us, that the other night, it was kind of that deal. And, you make a couple better pitches and, game probably goes a different way. So, but, like you said, it is an exhibition game. It's the fall. We still got guys working on stuff. And, and when the springtime comes, we'll be ready to play anybody, both in and out of conference. So we're not too worried about the outcome.
Well, believe it or not, that spring season only about 90 or so days away. We don't have the full non-conference slate yet. We do know you start conference play against Oklahoma coming up in the middle of March. And when you kind of look at this schedule, you get Tennessee at home coming off the national championship. You go to College Station, taking on A&M coming off their appearance in the finals, and obviously a lot of other good teams around this league. Is there any one matchup in particular you're looking forward to the Gamecocks having this spring?
Well, the first game is February 14th, and that's really all we're focused on right now. And, Coach Mainieri's made it pretty clear that we just got to take it one game at a time. And, February 14th is the first game. And then, after we beat the hell out of whoever we're playing on February 14th, then we play again on February 15th. And that's kind of the mindset that we've kind of, formed to this fall and this upcoming spring, is that just got to take it one game at a time, because every team that we play is good. And especially in the conference, there's no easy weekends in the SEC. We play a lot of hard teams with a lot of great talent, and you just got to take it one game at a time and, win as many games as possible.
Well, man, appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming in here a couple weeks ago. Try and relax a little bit over these next couple weeks. And, man, like we said, first pitch only about 90 or so days away.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate y'all having me on. Thank you.
Absolutely. Again, Roman Campbell from Gamecock Baseball joining us here on the Gamecock Club Hour presented by Krantz Cooling and Heating. Coming today at 1 o'clock, by the way, Shane Beamer, his usual Tuesday press conference as he looks ahead to Missouri this upcoming weekend. Chris, now dive back into the conversation. Is Carolina still eligible for the college ball playoff? Do they have a shot at making it in if chaos continues to unfold in college football? It's coming up next. Gamecock Club Hour presented by Krantz Cooling and Heating here on the Game.
All right, another one of our outstanding partners here on the game is our friends over at Classic Roofing. Joe Reeder, Max Sawyer, residents of the Midlands who have families that live here in the Midlands, 803-590-7870 or classicroofingsc.com. You know, whether it's a storm, whether it's just age of your roof, if you're just not sure, does my roof have damage? Is it covered? If you want to get the opportunity to build your new roof virtually, they can do that for you online, classicroofingsc.com. Residential and commercial roofers, they serve Columbia and the surrounding areas, and they're here for all of your roofing needs, inspections, installations, replacements, repairs. They're also a GAF certified roofer. Only about 7% of roofers nationwide have that certification. They offer solutions and